Welcome back to the Ombud's Lunchbox series. Today, we're talking about the ultimate tool in our collaborative kitchen, active listening. We're bypassing listening 101 and the foundational concepts of making eye contact, nodding, and to not interrupt. Instead, we're stepping into the test kitchen to look at how a few subtle shifts in how we hear each other can transform everyday departmental friction into actual high-level collaboration. Let's start with what's happening in our brains. Neuroscientists track a fascinating biological phenomenon called neurocoupling. When two people are genuinely locked into an active listening dynamic, the listener's brain actively mirrors the speaker's with a delay of just milliseconds. They literally sync up. True listening isn't just a polite pause when you wait for your turn to talk, it's a biological synchronization. And when this synchronization happens, it actively lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and opens up neural pathways for creative problem solving. So, what breaks that connection? For high achieving people like us, the biggest trap is the fix it mode. A colleague drops a problem on your desk, and your brain immediately starts writing the script to solve it. But jumping to solutions prematurely actually cuts off the speaker's own cognitive processing. When we're stressed, we actually need to process the problem out loud before we can even process a solution. To counter this, I want to challenge you to try the 2-minute rule. The next time someone comes to you with an issue, offer zero solutions for the first 120 seconds. Use that time entirely to track their experience and map out their concerns. You'll find that if you give them just 2 minutes to fully voice the issue, the conflict begins to untangle itself. So, for you to actually survive those 2 minutes without jumping in, we need to use what professional mediators call tactical neutrality. It is an active, strategic lever used to de escalate tension, drop defensive armor, and to get people to the table. So, when someone is stressed, our default instinct is to listen for facts so we can litigate. But to de escalate, we need to listen using these three communication levers. First, acknowledge the impact. You aren't validating their logic, you're just reading the room. So instead of debating a timeline, you name the stress. For example, it sounds like this transition has completely exhausted your team's bandwidth. Second, be transparent. If a conversation is spinning out of control, flag it. For example, I want to make sure I'm tracking this, but I'm hitting information overload. Can we pause and unpack that last part? Third, give a receipt. The golden rule here is that acceptance does not mean agreement. You can completely disagree with a colleague's perspectives while still acknowledging it. For example, I hear that this is your experience of how the project rolled out. But what about when things get incredibly heated, like a departmental meeting where the emotional temperature starts boiling over? When that happens, the tool we need is suspension, the work of organizational psychologist William Isaacs. Instead of reacting defensively, a master listener moves through a quick sequence: observe the trigger, suspend the judgment, inquire with genuine curiosity, and then enter into a shared dialogue. It stops a defensive cascade in its tracks and keeps the kitchen from burning down. Here is another self assessment poll. When you say the phrase, "It's been a busy week," in passing, what are you actually trying to broadcast? Most of us choose B, C, or D. We are internally shouting, "I'm drowning. Please don't drop another task on my desk." So here is a workplace hurdle. What we think is a crystal clear distress signal sounds to everyone else like standard small talk. This is driven by a powerful cognitive bias called the illusion of transparency. We fundamentally overestimate how obvious our internal states and stressors are to the people around us. We walk around assuming everyone can read our workload or our intentions. To bridge this gap, we have to stop assuming people can taste the stress without us naming the ingredient. We must use a direct bridge phrase to bring it to the surface explicitly. For example, I realize I haven't said this out loud, but I'm feeling close to my limit right now. To make sure we aren't misreading each other, we can borrow a quality control check from professional kitchens, the ticket verification. Line cooks don't guess what an order means. They read it back to the station to ensure absolute precision. In our offices, this is our best tool to prevent miscommunication. Before rushing to fix anything, read the ticket back. So if I have this right, the main friction isn't the deadline itself. It's a lack of coverage on Tuesdays. Am I tracking that accurately? Next, it's also worth noting that the collaboration isn't just built in big, informal meetings. It's built on microscopic level through emotional bids. A bid is any small, everyday attempt from a colleague for connection, validation, or attention. This is adopted by organizational psychologists from renowned couples therapists, Dr. John Gottman and his wife, who run the Gottman Institute. It's a heavy sigh at the copier. It's a casual comment in the hallway like, wow, this budget spreadsheet is massive this year. Or it's a quick Slack message sharing a minor win. When people drop these bids, we have choices. One, we can turn away by ignoring them. Two, turn against them by minimizing them. Or three, turn toward them. Turning towards them takes exactly 3 seconds. It's saying, it is a huge budget. How are you holding up with it? High functioning teams build trust in these split second daily micro interactions, not only during formal one on ones. Of course, practicing these advanced skills consistently is tough, especially when you're caught in the middle of a heavy workload or a long standing departmental conflict. When that happens, remember that the UCSB Office of the Ombuds is your campus test kitchen. We provide strictly confidential, entirely neutral, informal, and independent space where you can step out of the heat and test out communication strategies and untangle complex dynamics before they boil over. You don't have to figure out this recipe alone. Thank you for all your time. Our lunchbox will return next year in the fall, and we look forward to seeing you there.